got a lot more to write about. As of a few hours ago, Kevin Sumlin, now the Arizona head coach. What do you think about that?
Well, it came at a very interesting time. I mean, it's Martin Luther King Day today, and it's Arizona's first African-American head coach. Ricky Hunley chimed in. Alumni are happy. They feel rejuvenated. The fans got what they wanted. The players are happy because Marcel Yates will still be the defensive coordinator. They're still asking for Coach Adai to stay, and some other coaches would like to stay. So we'll see what happens there. They're excited about the new offensive coordinator, yet, no one's really met him. Noah Mazzoni, who I guess was at UCLA and in the NFL. Like, he's done a ton of things. Ole Miss and Minnesota. He was at Oregon State, UCLA, Arizona State, Texas A&M. So that's the connection, right? So I guess he was OC under Sumlin at Texas A&M.
Yes, he was.
So it was a very interesting weekend, though, because there were sightings of Sumlin on Thursday, Friday at the place where all the basketball players go to eat, Rincon Market. And then there was a don't tell anybody. So what the one fan goes to Twitter and says, I saw him. So what's the difference? Like, you're going to take a picture or but at the same time, they were going out, as we talked before, after the Navy coach who I guess was going to, BYU tried once and it didn't work either. So, but I'm sure he got a raise over there at Navy. So once that went out, like hours later, we started seeing reports that the new coach was Sumlin. It wasn't until later that night that Arizona Athletics actually put out a meme and also sent a letter out. Like, I don't understand why that wasn't all set up ahead of time and why everything got leaked before it got, I would think you'd have it all ready to go. And so I'm a little bit surprised at that, to get ahead. I would think you'd want to get in front of it, but ASU fans are really grumpy right now. They think we got the coach that they wanted. They're still not very happy with the Herm Edwards hire. And the ASU fans are basically saying, well, but, there's a reason why no one has hired Sumlin. So what is that reason? So, they shouldn't be so happy about it, basically.
Well, when the Arizona State job came open, Kevin Sumlin was the first name that was mentioned, and a lot of people thought that would be the natural first target for Arizona State, and then they came up with this out of left field hire of Herm Edwards, which may or may not turn out. It's not a conventional selection, but Kevin Sumlin's very respected for his ability to connect with young guys, with players, and he was a great recruiter at Texas A&M. He brought in top 5 to 10 recruiting classes. I don't know if he has as much in regards to money and resources at Arizona, but he certainly recruited well at Texas A&M, recruited great classes at Texas A&M. The performance on the field, not exceptional.
Well, he recruited Johnny Football.
Johnny Football.
There's been a lot of comparisons. Tate is no Johnny Football. I had to point out to a few fans that Tate hasn't even played a whole season yet. Like, with the partial season he had, he got 4 consecutive Pac-12 Player of the Week honors. He broke a record for single rushing yards by a quarterback in a game. There's a lot more. I could go on and on about all the things he did in the 8 games he played or, partial season he played. So, but the one thing that fans may not and people may not know about is that Khalil was actually recruited by Sumlin. So the two know each other, and Sumlin really wanted him. And someone wanted him as a quarterback. Not he wasn't trying to sell him into the athlete commitment. So the fact that he'd already recruited him, he knows all about Khalil, and I can't believe that wasn't one of the pulls or draws to go to Arizona. Like, he has this dynamic quarterback and this whole young crew of, like Kyle Wilborn and Tony Fields the second and Colin Schuler and all these guys, Scotty Young. They're all I think 2 of them are all freshman team. Got all freshman team honors nationally. And so a couple of the defensive guys got Pac-12 Player of the Week. So He's got a very young crew that's now experienced for a year. He's got a defensive coordinator that all the players, they actually, I heard a rumor that they signed a petition to keep Yates as their head coach, but I think they're just as happy to have him still around. They love Marcel Yates. And I also heard that the coach had nothing to do with the petition. The players got organized and they were very passionate. They came out on Twitter about it. Just like they did at USC, they kept Clay Helton at Oregon. They kept their coach. But I think it's a win-win. When you get Sumlin and a big name, all of a sudden we got boom, boom. We got 2 commits, 4-star players, one from transfer from Nebraska. So fans I haven't heard one fan be upset about this hire. My only concern is that I don't know why he wasn't hired at these other schools, but Arizona sure needs a big shot in the arm, and hopefully everybody's buying their season tickets because, Ricky Henley mentioned something about a 12th man, and I've been thinking about this for seasons. Arizona does not have a full stadium, and you could blame it on the heat, which is sometimes is a problem. I can't sit in the heat either, but it's the heat, or no one cares, or the Zona Zoo doesn't care, and all the student section and all that. But the student section is humongous. If you go to any other college, you don't see a student section that's 8,000 seats.
You sure about that?
Well, I mean, in the Pac-12, if you go to the USC, if you go to the Coliseum, which seats like 90,000 people, there's a little square where the students get to sit, and then the rest of them sit near the band, or
I'm glad you qualified that with the Pac-12.
Yeah, with the Pac-12.
The SEC or the Big Ten.
Well, it's got the biggest student section of the Pac-12, and they haven't been able to fill it out. And, there's some, I guess there's some reasons there. But I think they should be able – let's hope that, the other fans are going to start buying tickets and going and supporting this program. And someone said that he's going to connect with the past. So thank God, because there's a lot of alumni out there with a lot of NFL connections. There's Chuck Cecil. There's Ricky Hundley. Could go down the list. Teddy Bruschi. We have a current player who blocked a kick the other day for Pittsburgh. So we have, a lot of alumni out there who are excited as well. They're chiming in. But there hasn't been a connection. Remember, I was telling you, that's the one thing that Rich Rod did not do was connect with the past. And when you're in the stadium and you see all these names, you would my kids are Wildcats, and they didn't even know who these people were. When finally, I introduced them to Ricky Hundley, and they were like, wow, I'm actually meeting a legend, That guy's name is on the stadium, those. And you would think the football players would want that too. See other programs where the alumni are just walking up and down the sideline, free range, So they're excited. They're really excited about this.
So for anyone out there currently watching, this is Shireen Ryan of Zona Zealots. She writes for FanSided for Arizona football and athletics across the board. If, of course, it's basketball season, but we've got a huge coaching hire as Arizona was looking for a head football coach after the firing unceremoniously, as they would say, of Rich Rodriguez a couple weeks ago, and Kevin Sumlin, the former Texas A&M head coach, was hired and announced this afternoon. So, Shireen, since I was not prepared to do this via my phone's about to go dead. So I'm going to let you talk. I'm going to go grab my charger. Then I'm going to come back and I'm going to tell you why Kevin Sumlin's a good hire. And I'm going to tell you why I would or would not take the Arizona head coaching job. If I'm a big-time college football coach, the reason I would or would not go to Arizona, and you can give me your opinion on this, Shireen. So the weather. So for me, the weather would be a plus. I would think the weather would be a plus, but I can understand not everybody loves the severe heat in the summer. So that's the good and the bad there. So that depends on the individual. I think Arizona can win in the Pac-12 South. Right now, the division is down. USC strong, but not as strong as they may be soon. UCLA's up in the air, but they've got a very capable coach, of course, in Chip Kelly. Everybody else is beatable. Arizona State's in decent shape. We'll see how Herm Edwards does. but
Right.
it's probably the weakest.
Don't forget Stanford.
No, I'm talking about the division.
Oh, okay. It's a South
So it's
Division.
probably the weakest division in college football. It's close. It's close. The Atlantic Division in the ACC is pretty weak. The SEC East is pretty weak. So anyway, it's winnable. I don't know what the resources are like at Arizona, but I would have to say, and you may disagree with me, the fan base isn't exactly, at least the perception is that it's not exactly rabid. Thus the empty
No.
seat.
Well, I mean, I've been at games where it's full. Like you can't find an empty seat, and that I have two kids, and my first one graduated in 2013. So in the 2000 from 2009 to 2013, when Nick Foles was a quarterback, B.J. Denker was in there, Matt Scott. It was full. I mean, it was full when UCLA came to town. It was full, and the Zona Zoo was full, and it's just in recent years. I don't know what if the coach didn't connect with the students, or the media put out. The media talks a lot of dirt about the students. But having two kids of my own, I have to tell you, they most of the kids drink before they go, and then they sit there for 2 hours. They're supposed to be there early, so they sit in the sun for 2 hours waiting for the game. By the time the game's halfway done, they're either sick or want more alcohol. So, I know it sounds stupid, but that's what I'm been told is half the reason that they go back to their dorms. The other thing is, it's getting expensive for the alumni. Some of those seats are not cheap. So my oldest is coming into town, and she said, "Mom, there's 12 of us. We're going to go to the local bar, Frog and Firkin on University, and we're just going to have beers and watch the game there." And so what happens is a lot of them don't come to the game. But that's no excuse. You're right. As far as the weather is concerned, Dave Hickey, the athletic director, is getting an indoor facility made. Because I know ASU has one. Once that goes up, there's not going to be any excuse from any player or any coach about practicing in the heat or having to practice early. I think that's a huge, huge plus. And I'm sure that's something that someone's going to be very happy about, because it does get hot, but it's not Tempe. It's, it's usually between 80 and 100 degrees, not 100 and 115 degrees. So it is cooler than Tempe. And there's places in California that are in the 110 degree, right? 10 miles away from me in the San Fernando Valley. So sometimes I just don't get when people say, "Oh, it's so hot in Arizona." Yeah, well, it's hot and humid in California, near Los Angeles.
Humid?
Yes.
Humid in California?
Yeah, because of the ocean.
Is it? Nowhere I've been. Okay, well, anyway, so then if I'm Kevin Sumlin, the reason you're getting a good coach is that, so he's got a long history of being an assistant under excellent coaches in coming up through the system. Then he got his first big job at Houston, and he did well there. He had a 13-1 season in 2011. They beat Penn State in a bowl game, and he really developed his passing offense, and that's what he became known for. Then he moved that to Texas A&M, recruited Johnny Manziel, won the Heisman Trophy, took the SEC by storm in his first year at Texas A&M. In the SEC, they moved to the SEC. They won the Cotton Bowl, and his first 2 years at Texas A&M with Manziel there were very successful. In the meantime, he was recruiting five-star quarterbacks to take over for Johnny Manziel, and none of them have panned out. Actually, one of them will most likely be the Oklahoma starting quarterback next season, Kyler Murray.
Okay.
So it's not like he failed at Texas A&M. He went 51-26. If he goes 51-26 at Arizona, they're going to love him. But 51-26 at Texas A&M, when they expected after the first couple years, and they went 11-2, 9-4, that they just couldn't beat Alabama after that. Of course, nobody's beating Alabama. And they got to run into LSU and Auburn each year, and Mississippi State and Ole Miss. Ole Miss was really good for 2 or 3 years. So they had a difficult time, and he kept racking up these 8-5 seasons, and it just grew a little thin there. So I think he's going to do just fine. He says that he's going to win championships. and he's going to graduate players. So that's his pledge.
Well, I think that's a great pledge, and everybody's so excited. I think that the boosters, everybody's going to help him do whatever he can, and if he starts getting the alumni involved and other people, and he kept Yates. I mean, let's we talked about this. There's 16 recruits that have already committed, right? They're not going to be. Hopefully now they're not going to be going, oh, okay, I don't want to come to Arizona anymore. So now you don't have to worry about that. And then there's commits they're commits that didn't sign yet, and we were worried about them leaving, and they were kind of coming out saying, hey, if you keep Yates or you hire Sumlin, I'm there, and so we don't have to worry about that as much. In fact, he might attract more talent than Arizona's ever had before, with the combination of Yates and him, and if he keeps some other coaches around. I mean, Scott Boone is brand new as well. So I think they keep the defensive guys intact, but but who knows? But Sumlin is bringing his offensive coordinator from Texas A&M. So we don't know much about that, but we assume that the offensive coordinator and below all the coaches, anybody tied for years to Rich Rod will probably be looking for a job because of the impending court hearings and stuff like that. One thing I'd like to point out is that Rich Rodriguez put out a very nice statement welcoming Coach Sumlin and wishing him luck. So that was nice. And Rich Rod started, and Yates has been able to recruit a couple years. He hasn't had much chance to really prove himself, and already in a couple years he's shown that he has award-winning players that aren't 5 stars. So win-win-win.
Wishing Rich Rod a little more luck than what he had at the end, but then again, if you do the right things, you tend to have a little bit more luck.
Yeah.
All right,
well,
that's Shireen Ryan. That's Shireen Ryan from Zona Zealots. You catch her there for Arizona sports coverage. And the Wildcats hired Kevin Sumlin today, former Texas A&M head coach. He went 51-26 there. Sounds like a good hire to both of us. Should be successful there in trying to continue what Rich Rod started, which is certainly a turnaround from 3-9 last year to 7-6 this year.
Right.
All right, Shireen. Well, thank you so much for doing this. And for those of you out there that love college football, I've got a YouTube channel, Mark Rogers TV. Just type in MarkRogersTV.com. You'll find me right there.
Bear down, everybody. Let's go. Let's get those seats filled.
Oh, we're bearing down. All right, Shireen. We'll see you later.
All right. Bye.